scanning a book is really not that difficult if you own the book yourself, because what you need is to cut it open in the back. And this is what I'm going to show you now, along with actually scanning. One trick to be aware of is that you cut from the bottom of the book to the top of the book, because if your cutting creates, I don't know what to say, like if the edge is not entirely clean, then the unclean things will be in the right direction. So you need to really press hard and do this many times, maybe. Like that. And I suggest for small books you can easily do it with just a knife like this. And for larger books I suggest that you use an electric plane, as you may have read about in the toolbox. But now the book is basically ready to be scanned. What you need to make sure is that all the pages are loose. And certainly that's typically not the case with the cover page and some of the first pages. There might be some glue left, because what you don't want is to have a paper jam where some pages are stuck together. So the next step is basically you put it into the scanner. So maybe I take these things aside here, and you can see we have the document scanner here, and you place the book in the scanner like this. And many of these scanners take like 50 documents in the feeder here. Next step will be on the computer to configure the scanner to scan in the right way. This particular scanner is a ScanSnap from Fujitsu, and it has a configuration interface like this. I have made certain settings that I always use. First of all, I create a folder where I can put the scans in. So I would typically create here a folder scans, and I choose that. The file name should be something like this, page, and then digits counting forward. I also set up the scanning quality. I have found that this particular scanner should use the best scanning settings. This will create a slower scan than fastest, but depending on my needs. In this case I will choose that. I'll choose color, duplex, it will scan both sides, and it should continue scanning after current scan is finished. This is of course if I have multiple pages that I would like to feed afterwards, like if I have a big book, not only 50 pages or less than that, or 50 sheets. So I can scan 100 pages at a time. But if I had 1,000 pages, 500 sheets, I would need to feed it 50 at a time. So obviously I want to enable that. And in this particular case, it's also nice to have a setting for text-only documents, because there's a lot of black and white text in here. So I don't want this, and I don't want this either. File options, I will save to JPEG files. For the paper size, it will just detect it automatically, and I choose the lowest compression I can get at all. So these settings are obviously settings that are specific for the Fujitsu scanner, but I think some of the principles behind them are clear. For instance, the compression settings are important to keep low compression, high quality, because we want to post-process the pages. So it doesn't mean a great deal to us what size the JPEGs will be right now after we scan them. But and the same goes for the file option, by the way. I don't want to scan directly to a PDF file. As you can see, there was a PDF option, and I would just get a PDF file. But I'm going to show you how you can optimize your scanned results so that it will fill much less than if you just scanned it to a PDF file. And that's the whole trick of this demonstration. So I keep it at JPEG. All right, so basically what you do is you put it in the scanner as we just saw. And we see the scanner is just working through the sheets one at a time. so the scanner is working, obviously, and I could go and have a coffee break and something. What I find nice is that you place 50 sheets at a time, exactly 50 sheets, because then usually you can follow the page numbers, and if the system will report back to you that only 49 sheets were scanned, it means that 2 pages had to be stuck somewhere, and you need to investigate what pages that was and make a rescan. So that's just some tricks you could use. And you also want to test or check this after you have scanned the whole bunch to make sure that you don't miss 2 pages inside of your scan. Okay. So that was scanning the book. The next step is processing it with Photoshop. In my folder with all the scanned files as we see right now, I could preview some of them if I wanted to see how they look. Yes, and what I want to do is to create a folder inside here, which is called processed, and this is where I'll put my processed files. So now I take one file like this one, and I take it into Photoshop, inside of which I will create an action. So I go to my actions, and I create a new custom action, and I could give it a meaningful name. I didn't. First step is I convert my document here to grayscale. Okay. Discard color information, yes, thanks. So as you can see, it recorded this action that I converted to grayscale. You can follow these steps here. And the next step is I change the size to 3 or 400 dpi. Again, this might be specific for my scanner. I then adjust the documents threshold. I convert it to pure black and white, and I found that a threshold around 160 is great. This is where you can actually adjust how you can say the brightness or the contrast of the document, but you want your text to be readable, certainly. And then you convert the whole thing to a bitmap image like this, and you save as a TIFF file, and you save it back to the output folder you just created right here. Like that. Save as a TIFF file. Okay. And you can use LZW compression. That's a good idea. Now, inside this folder, I'll just remove this file again, because what I'm going to do now is to run a batch process on all the files in this folder, and this means that I will create a folder also called scans, and inside of that folder I put all the images I just made here. So these goes into the scans folder, and back in Photoshop I will now automate batch. I say, okay, I want to take all files from this folder. I want to run the action 21 down here, which I'm still recording, so I forgot to disable it. Okay, there we go. I needed to stop recording my action. And so I go back to batch processing. I choose the folder, scan, yes, and I want the destination to be a folder as well, and not the scans folder, but the processing folder. So this is where the scans will go. And I select this override action, save as commands. Okay, so that's the right action, although I didn't give it a good name. So I press OK, and now you'll see that it takes all my scans in, and it's just going to batch process these pages. We've just seen a lot of pages flipping over the screen. Photoshop was batch processing all the scanned images into black and white bitmaps, because this particular publication is just black and white, so we didn't need anything else than that. If it had been a color application, another process would apply. But in this case, we just go black and white. And back inside Acrobat Professional, we now see the possibility to create PDF, combine files, etc. And I think most of the time I just ignore this and I will choose it directly from here. So from multiple files is what we choose, and then we could add folders, and we can search our desktop for the scans folder, and now we go to the proc folder here. So the processing folder is where we choose the scans from. It finds all the pages, as you can see, and they are nicely organized by their number. And we just select next and create one single PDF file. So now it's walking through all these pages and including them, combining them into a single PDF document. As you just saw, the front page was black and white as well, and we could of course go back and take the original scanning, which is in red color, and include there as well. We can do that at a later time. But for now, it's just compiling the PDF file. Okay, we are soon done now, and when the file opens, we'll save it by clicking here, and we give it a name in this folder. So we call it Nanotech Book, like that.